Brought down trees in several towns, including Avon. Thousands were without power this morning. More than 4,500 customers, including 78% of East Haddam, Connecticut. I hope I pronounced that right. The issue in East Windsor was at a substation. By late morning, the number of outages was down to about 700, but boy, was that a mess there.
We want to thank you for watching Live at 5.
Live at 5:30 starts now.
Car crashes involving deer are more common this time of year. We'll explain why. And what effects are smartphones having on the I generation? Dating, partying, drinking, and teen sex have plummeted since the iPhone was released in 2007. How can one device change a generation?
Channel 3 Eyewitness News live at 5:30. Coverage you can count on.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Greg Glover.
And I'm Latrice Curry. Today in Washington, sexual harassment allegations against two politicians being handled very differently. Senator Al Franken and Senate candidate Roy Moore both under scrutiny.
Franken has apologized while Moore is fighting back, denying all charges. NBC's Blaine Alexander has the story from Capitol Hill.
Today, Capitol Hill rocked by allegations of sexual harassment and misconduct against Senator Al Franken, a Democrat, and Republican Senate candidate Roy Moore. Moore accused by at least 9 women of inappropriately touching, kissing, or pursuing them, some while they were in their teens. In Alabama, women coming to Moore's defense, calling it an attack by liberal outsiders.
I have found his character to be only one thing, and that is godly.
Kayla Moore echoing her husband's defiance.
He will not step down.
That's right. And Alabama's governor saying Moore still has her support.
That's what I plan to do, is vote for the Republican nominee, Roy Moore.
But where Moore is publicly denying everything, Senator Al Franken apologetic and laying low after radio host Leanne Tweeden said he kissed and groped her without consent in 2006 before he was a lawmaker.
He just mashed his lips against my face.
Tweeden releasing this picture, Franken touching her as she slept. The senator now agreeing to cooperate with an ethics investigation, writing, "I don't know what was in my head when I took that picture, and it doesn't matter. There's no excuse."
Should Roy Moore resign?
President Trump, who has avoided questions about Moore, tweeting about Franken. The Al Frankenstein picture is really bad, and asking where do his hands go in other pictures. Meanwhile, 8 former Franken staffers are now coming to his defense, writing in a statement, "He treated us with the utmost respect and was a champion for women." Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Washington.
Well, Americans have less than a month left to sign up for health insurance while Washington is debating the future of health care for millions. Repealing and replacing health care was one of the staples that Mr. Trump ran on during his campaign, but getting the House and the Senate to support his vision has been harder than some initially thought. Representative Chuck Fleischmann stopped by the Channel 3 studio today. He met with the president yesterday about wanting to revisit health care.
That's something that he actually wants to revisit. That's a big source of concern and frustration for him. It failed in the Senate. I'm hoping that the Senate ultimately will get back to the table and get something done.
Health care has also been a big topic with the ongoing tax reform.
A Tennessee man reportedly accidentally shot himself and his wife while showing off his gun in church. Tellico Plains police say members of the First United Methodist Church were talking about guns in churches. They say the man pulled out his handgun, removed the magazine, cleared the chamber, and showed the gun. He put the magazine back in the gun, returned it to its holster. Someone asked later if they could see the firearm, so he unholstered it, saying the gun was not loaded, and he pulled the trigger. The bullet sliced the man's palm and went through his wife's abdomen. The couple, who are in their 80s, were flown to the hospital. They are expected to be okay. Traffic is moving again on I-24 East at the Tennessee-Georgia state line. Earlier this evening, a crash that involved a number of vehicles created quite a few problems for drivers because one lane was blocked there. But again, traffic is moving for your Friday night.
Well, tonight marks our final Friday night football show of the season, and we have a special game of the week in store for you.
Cross-county rivals doesn't get any better. South Pitt and Whitwell go head-to-head with a spot in the single-A state semifinals on the line. Sports reporter Jill Jelnick joins us now live from South Pitt High School, where they have not only a ship to run through, but cannon fire when a touchdown
It's always
scored.
a big deal there.
That's right, Jill.
They bring it all here at South Pittsburgh, Greg and Latrice. It's definitely going to be an exciting game of the week tonight. It's almost as if the stars lined up for this one, because very rarely do we have two local teams this deep in the playoffs. And well, on top of that, as you mentioned, they're cross-county rivals that played each other just last month. South Pittsburgh and Whitwell are region rivals, and they competed for the region championship back in October. And well, that game turned out to be all the hype and excitement that everyone had been hoping for. South Pittsburgh had to hold off a furious comeback by the Tigers coming down to the final seconds of the game, but the Pirates would come away with a 21-14 win. So, well, you can imagine that tonight's game will be just as intense, just as close. These two schools also have a lot more at stake tonight for this rematch. A win for Whitwell would mark the second time in school history that they have made it to the semifinals. Meanwhile, the Pirates, well, they're no stranger to deep playoff runs. They've been in the playoffs the last 17 years straight, including 11 state championship appearances. And well, Coach Greider believes that it's that experience that will be their advantage tonight.
You know, fortunately for us, through the years, we've had a bunch of guys that have been in just about every type of environment you could be in and every type of situation, numerous big games here and there. So I don't think there's anything that's going to surprise us or catch us off guard. I think our guys know what to expect. I think they know what the atmosphere and the environment's going to be like. And, you know, being on that side is a good feeling, knowing that your guys are probably not going to be caught off guard by anything that happens in the game.
The first time these two teams played, they were also undefeated. And so the Tigers' only loss this season comes from the Pirates. South Pittsburgh is 12-0 right now. Whitwell is an 11-1 team. So it shows you how successful these seasons have been for both of these teams. And, well, it sets up for a pretty good game of the week tonight. Again, 8 p.m. kickoff, 7 p.m. local time here in South Pittsburgh. For now, live in South Pittsburgh, Jill Jelnick, Channel 3 Eyewitness Sports.
Jill, thank you. Sadly, one of those teams will be sitting out next weekend.
I was going to say, I'll be going home.
Later on, live at 5:30, many families, small children will take the skies for the upcoming holidays.
But did you know that not all car seats are approved for air travel? We'll explain. Plus other tips to keep your little ones safe while flying.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today, because the next few days are not going to be as nice. I've got all the details on my 7-day forecast.
Channel 3 Eyewitness News Traffic, sponsored by CHM Memorial's Mary Ellen Locher Breast Center. We offer the best mammography technology, providing crystal clear results. Call 423-495-4040.
Here's a look at the interstate. Boy, it's a Friday, isn't it? Check out the traffic coming down the Ridge Cut and going through town. Lots of brake lights there. It's a Friday, and if you're expecting someone home, they're a little late. Here are some reasons why, possibly. There's an accident with injuries, 6000 block of Shallerford Road. That's near the Highway 153 intersection there. Also, we've got one at 900 Interstate 75. It's exit 9. Between the on-ramp and the off-ramp there. That's on southbound lanes. Several other things going on, but gosh, you know, it's just a busy Friday.
That's going to say it's Friday traffic, afternoon, evening traffic. All right, do you know you are more likely to hit a deer with your car in November than in any other month? About 1,600 crashes on Tennessee roadways involve a deer this time of year.
But as meteorologist Brittany Beggs found, crashes may be down this year, and weather may play a role.
As colder temperatures move in, the deer get more active and more accidents happen. But here at Red Bank Body Shop, they tell me they've only seen a few accidents so far. There could be a reason for that.
According to TWRA, the number of deer killed by hunters is down. 4 years ago, hunters tagged 168,000 deer. 2 years ago, there were nearly 165,000, and last year, 163,000 were reported. Last year's mild winter may be to blame. Rick Padgett's Body Shop usually sees more work by mid-November due to collisions involving deer.
In excess of 20 to 25 vehicles.
He has only seen 3 so far this month. That could be due to massed crops like acorns, fruits, and berries. Deer and even bears may be foraging less because last year's mild winter left more food and more time to eat. Less foraging means less opportunity for hunters. It also means fewer accidents. Padgett says it's still important to be alert on the roadways.
There was actually one up the street about a week ago that was coming right across 27.
Bumper-mounted deer whistles can help avoid a collision. But Padgett says if you see a deer on the road, the best thing you can do is honk your horn and keep driving. Swerving can lead to a more serious crash.
That's about the reaction I get from deer when I honk my horn too. They just walk on across. That was Brittany Beggs reporting. Rifle season ends January 7th next year for Hamilton and Bradley counties. Last Friday should have been a miserable day for the Central Purple Pounders, who were eliminated in the second round of postseason play.
The key word there, should have been. Paul Shaheen is about to tell us Central found victory in defeat. He joins us now. And Paul, we've all been looking forward to this story.
Yeah,
today.
this one is a really special one. When the head coach at Central texted me a picture, really no context and a link, I said, we're doing this. Called him immediately. So Central did lose to Greenville, yes, but there was no doubt about it. Central won that day. The Purple Pounders left for Greenville last Friday. Their bus was loaded with 4 dozen roses, a signed team jersey, and a team full of big hearts. Central head coach Courtney Braswell planned to stop at Tony Weems' house. It's in Greenville. Now, Tony Weems was recently diagnosed with a very rare and aggressive form of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. The Pounders surprised Weems with the roses, the jersey, and a busload of hugs before kickoff.
If you can exist in a way or live your life in a way that you make somebody else's day better or make their existence better just because you were a part of it, that's really what we're here for.
All right, I know what you're thinking. Where's the connection between all of these people? There is one, and it's a strong one. Tony's son is Red Bank assistant coach Charles Weems. Charles is best friend with Courtney, the Central head coach. So he wanted to do something special for his buddy's mom, who he also loves. He's got to know the past couple years during this, you know, time of pain right now for that family. And boy, it was a ray of sunshine for them during this time.
That was a bright spot there. All right, that is. Thanks, Paul. Well, teenagers today, the I generation, some have had an iPhone since they were 3 years old, some even younger. So how's that working out for them?
Studies show they don't date as much nor go out with friends very often, and depression is on the rise. Next on Live at 5:30, what do we make out of all this, and what should parents do to spark a change?
I know that my friend already had it.
When was the last time you went to the
I know that my friend already had it, and she kept saying, Martha, you got to get EPB, and then y'all came. And that settled that part of it. I love Facebook and the internet. I look up stuff a lot. But just to be able to talk to somebody downtown, I love it. That's the best part. Well, my neighbors on both sides, they installed it right after y'all came to my house. I love my EPB.
You know your kids are spending a lot of time on their phones, but what you may not know is it's affecting their social life.
A new study suggests those devices are making the next generation the most boring group of teenagers ever seen. Our consumer technology reporter Jamie Tucker has been looking into what effect smartphones are having on teens and what parents can do to change it.
When was the last time you went to the movies and you saw two teenagers out on a date together? Doesn't happen very much anymore. They're not dating like their parents did. And studies have shown all of this started changing about the same time the iPhone came out.
But we see students that they're just more comfortable in the world of their device.
They're the iGeneration, always looking at a screen, always connected, but rarely in person.
When they are forced to put their phone down, they don't know how to act.
I witnessed it at an after-school teen center.
He can't even stay off of his.
We're in the middle of an interview. Exactly, that's right.
And at a church youth group, their leaders tell me by only communicating through texts or Snapchats, teens are not learning to go face-to-face, even with each other.
They just don't have those soft skills, to be able to deal one-on-one with people.
And that has had an impact on every other social aspect in their lives. Consider some recent studies. The number of teenagers who get together with friends has dropped 40% since 2000. Only 58% of high school seniors today say they go on dates, compared to 85% of their parents' generation.
Guys coming and picking up a girl and taking her out to dinner. And
a lot of the time they don't even have driver's licenses yet.
And they're waiting longer to get their license. It bothers youth pastor Payne Stockard, who's worried that teenagers today aren't getting enough human contact.
They don't even go out as friends, as group of friends, to go to a movie. Very, very rarely do you see Snapchats of them together. They send me Snapchats, and it's usually just them at their house and just hanging out at home.
On the positive side, they're not drinking alcohol because they're not at parties very often, and the teen birth rate is down.
They can't have sex together unless they're together. Yeah. And so that's gone down, which was a surprising statistic to me that actually went down, but it makes sense.
The teen homicide rate is at an all-time low, but the suicide rate has been going up steadily since 2007. Now, Stockard suggests parents take the first step, not taking the phone away necessarily, but encouraging the kids to go hang out at a friend's house without their phones.
So they're forced to be in a room together where they're not looking down, but they're looking at each other and creating conversation.
And the news gets bleaker as they get older. Another study shows that young men are putting off getting jobs until their mid to late 20s, choosing instead to live at home with mom and dad, playing hundreds of hours of video games, usually alone with people online they don't know. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
Well, the best video game I know of is the Storm Alert Center. And
There
Paul
we
Barris
go.
is standing by to tell us all about it.
And
Hey,
Paul will be interactive with you.
Yes, indeed.
When I go on the internet, that's pretty much what I look at. That's about it. There's not that much else. Is there anything else in the world? All right. Now, if you're planning on going to the Tennessee game out in Knoxville, it's going to be in the 50s, and it's not going to be pretty. I mean, I don't know about the score, but as far as the weather goes, it'll be in the 50s. It's going to be windy, and you're going to see some rain. So, again, it's not going to be pretty at all. Holiday Inn, downtown Cam, looking off to the north. A few scattered clouds way off to the north. Looking at the high-res radar, there's showers up over the Midwest, the Great Lakes, out into the Great Plains and the Rocky Mountains. Nothing really near us yet, although a few sprinkles are starting to form near Paducah, Kentucky. That should stay pretty much to the north, but boy, is it warm. It's really nice out. So get out and enjoy this evening. 65 Cleveland and Dalton, 66 right now in the city. Even Altamont at 63 with 63 in Blue Ridge. Murphy's at 60, winds out of the south at 6. Our high was perfect because that's what we predicted, so that's why I consider it perfect. 66 and 37 worked out very well. And 64 Lafayette, 65 Fort Payne and Scottsboro, 68 Dalton, and even 65 to Blue Ridge. Fort Mountain, one of the warmest they've seen in a long time, at 61. Cleveland at 67. Only 56 Moby Mountain, Signal Mountain 59, and Lookout Mountain at 57. While it was 69, almost 70 degrees in Trenton, and 65 Ooltewah and 63 in Ringgold. While we got to Murphy at 65. Jasper hit almost 70 at 69. Cagle Mountain 60 and Colmont 63. A lot of places this morning had frost though, and we're going to see a hard freeze I think coming up into Monday morning. Clouds are going to be increasing through tonight, but not so much as to be completely cloudy, but we'll see most of those clouds move in by dawn, and they'll thicken up for tomorrow, and by tomorrow afternoon some scattered showers will develop. The heaviest rain will move in probably after dark, and then it's going to skedaddle out of here, and we're going to see some drier weather coming up into Sunday. A lot of sunshine, but cooler temperatures, a northerly wind, and it's going to feel a lot colder than it actually is because of the wind chills, believe it or not. Now, on Wednesday evening, the winds will be out of the south, so it will start to warm up a little bit as we see some more clouds start to move in on Tuesday. Right now I'm thinking about a quarter to a half inch of rain generally around the area. Isolated spots could see more if we get a thunderstorm. Tonight though, 49 and a few more clouds with southerly winds. Tomorrow some scattered showers, not the heavier rain. Southerly winds 15 to 25 and gusty. Higher elevations even more than that. But it's going to be warm. Then tomorrow night winds shift, cold air moves in, could have some storms early, and then 43 for that low. And then the actual high for the day will be at 55 on Sunday, and that'll be early in the day, probably at midnight, and then dropping into the 40s. And by Monday morning, about 29, 56 Monday, and then 59 Tuesday. The big traveling day Wednesday, 55, and Thanksgiving Day, not too bad, 52. And then on Black Friday, we're looking at 31 and 51, so it'll be a cool morning for all the people getting out shopping. We'll be right back after this.
What the Tech is brought to you by
Gig City's only local provider of the fastest internet and sharpest HD TV, EPB Fiber Optics.
AAA expects that 51 million people intend to travel over the Thanksgiving holiday, and many are families with young children.
Well, but did you know that not all car seats, when it comes to those car seats that you use, are approved for travel? Erica Edwards has details as well as other tips on keeping your little ones safe in the sky.
It's our courtesy boarding for anyone needing extra time down the jetway and families with young children 3 and under.
There's a reason people flying with kids need extra time. They have a lot of stuff.
Extra diapers, extra wipes. Take everything that you absolutely need in the diaper bag because you're allowed.
And even though kids under age 2 are permitted to sit on their parents' laps on airplanes, many safety experts recommend also taking car seats. Unexpected turbulence can jostle anything or anyone left unsecured.
Things are hitting the ceiling. Things are flying all over that aircraft. We don't want our most precious cargo, being our child, to be that object.
Most major brands like Britax have seats that can be taken on airplanes, but not all safety seats on the market are FAA approved. All car seats do have a label right on the side, stating in red letters if it can be used for air travel. Whether it fits in increasingly cramped quarters is another issue.
Now, a good rule to make sure your seat will actually fit on the airplane is to make sure it's no wider than 16 inches.
There is another smaller and easily transportable option. The FAA has approved the CARES harness that converts an airplane lap belt into a harness.
Welcome aboard. Thank you.
They're in-flight options to get you rolling.
That's the way to travel.
And safely reach your final destination. Erica Edwards, NBC News.